We are into it here. I'm going to switch the colors up. We're going to put Liereyy in the blue for this and TaToH in the red. But probably, this is probably the biggest series so far in Titans League Season 5. We're at round 3 now. Liereyy sitting at 6 wins. TaToH sitting at 5 wins. So winner of this play all 3 likely going to be the front runner for top of the group. A reminder, if you're top of the group, you get a bye past the round of 12 into the quarterfinals. And I think most importantly, once those playoffs come around, Orlu, you're then separated from all the other group winners. So you can, in theory, avoid some really tough matchups early on. So TaToH as the Romans, Liereyy as the Dravidians here on High Tides.
Yep, very standard map to start things off. I mean, I think this is the most played map in TTL.
Yep.
At least that's what I would guess. Players love their aggressive hybrid maps, and this one is just a known quantity at this point. It's been in your tournaments for a long time now, obviously with small adjustments here and there, but these guys know exactly what's going on with it, and 2 strong aggressive civs here with Dravidians and Romans to kick things off.
Yeah, so both infantry civs, both civilizations have played infantry very consistently throughout this tournament. Infantry, then archer is the normal standard land follow-up, but I'm just kind of thinking about it like, is that what TaToH wants? Do you want a situation where you're playing archers against Liereyy? You're going for the same build against Liereyy. What is there something TaToH can maybe do to leverage the Roman bonuses or maybe the new water changes to just punch Liereyy in the mouth early on here?
I think that might be a good idea. I mean, to be fair, how can you not leverage the Roman eco bonus? I mean, you can try really hard, but short of idling your villagers, I don't think there's any way you can not leverage the Roman eco bonus.
That's fair.
But beyond that, I think that what makes Dravidian so strong for Liereyy is they're not a civ you can get the jump on. They're so fast. They're so strong in both the land and water in early feudal age that if that is something that TaToH wanted to do, I feel like Dravidians are going to be a tough civ to do it against.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I think with that 5% greater efficiency bonus, I think maybe you just are the one to defend in early feudal. You don't get the additional wood like the Dravidians get. You don't get the cheaper barracks technology. So yeah, there's just really not a lot you can do to get the jump. But if it's even with the damage dealt in mid-feudal, I guess there you maybe benefit the Romans a little bit. And the thing about this map that could be an issue for the Dravidians long term, usually this map does require a lot of mobility. There's the north, there's the south, there's a lot of openness through the middle. So Dravidians struggle there as they're an infantry and archer civ.
Yeah, Dravidians don't do things on horseback very well. Not too good there in the jungles of southern India. And that makes sense. That said, if the game goes long, which we see high tides either end really fast or go really long, at least that's what I've noticed so far this season. If you can get in the long game, defending the choke points and the hills in the middle with castles, and then sort of bouncing back and forth with a big blob of archers and infantry, does feel like a way you can approach this in the late game as Liereyy.
Yeah, now TaToH has this tendency. Hold on, TaToH's bringing his Vil. I think he wants to loom up and wall this in. Liereyy doesn't have loom on the way, so Liereyy thought he would be fine. Ooh. Liereyy gets the quick walls there. Nice early shenanigans here. But if they'll let me complete my thought here, TaToH loves to go all in Castle Age. So I think you need to end this before this ends up going to the Imperial Age. Blocks happening for TaToH. He'll kill the Vil.
Yeah, loses the scout, though. I don't think there's any way you can save it now.
Yeah.
Just try to get that one last hit in. That said, the scout is only at 6 HP, so it's not going to be anything that devastating. That said, I love the early kill there. I do think that, okay, we look at, is a Vil kill worth losing your early scout? I think on this map in particular, you could argue it is, because that Vil won't be there to repair.
Well, I agree. And then also the second dock, right? The second dock is usually a very common strategy, and it's normally that villager that does it. That doesn't mean Liereyy can't just bring another Vil. But yeah, and the other side of that too is we already talked about what's expected from Liereyy. Most likely going to be man-at-arms and archers. So I think TaToH, he just thinks through this. He's like, well, I could lose the scouting intel. I'm going to wall as if I'm going to be pressured by man-at-arms anyways. And as long as he doesn't make a mistake in not prepping for that, I think that's probably a good start for him.
Yeah, this feels like a civ matchup where you can just blindly open defensive skirmishers or archers or, some combination thereof and feel pretty safe against what Dravidians are doing. That said, Lierey's early build is very good. He's already going to have his 5th fishing ship out. TaToH is only going to be on 3, and that's going to do a great job of mitigating for those early losses on the villager, as another one is going to be joining here in the north.
Yeah, and so pretty clearly Lierey's not playing Man-at-Arms. It's funny, maybe if TaToH had his scout, he would have gone Man-at-Arms, but now he knows TaToH has to defend from it. Maybe TaToH's expecting it, so he chooses to instead just go for the heavy water. TaToH is blind, of course, to what Liereyy will do, and he will go for the early barracks and Man-at-Arms, which Liereyy did see. So I think with the barracks timing, he should be aware of what's to come here.
Yeah, still not aware of the second dock just yet is TaToH. Militia are going to make their way out onto the map. Not going to get lucky with the scout pathfinding into the militia. So Liereyy, he is going to know exactly what's going on. He knows that if your opponent is going for the men-at-arm play, chances of them having a second dock as well are very low. So Liereyy can feel pretty confident that he has a great shot at winning water here as 2 fire galleys are immediately queued up.
Is that the play here, though? Aren't Hulks good against fires? Shouldn't he be going Hulks here with the new water balance? I'm not sure. I haven't seen the...
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Like a week ago, yeah, fires, but now you get Hulks, and everyone should be aware of that. Liereyy obviously banned some of the new civs in his draft, but if 1 dock Hulks could beat 2 docks fires, this could actually be really problematic for Liereyy. I just haven't seen it enough. Lierey's got his work cut out for him. Early tower on the back, early walls on the back because of the man-at-arms.
Yeah, this is already a good early defense here from Liereyy. Having all those back resources really does help in that aspect, and going for the back gold is part of that. I mean, you have the Vil here. You can block with your fishing ship. Hulks also train faster than fire galleys do, which is another benefit of the unit. And it looks like
TaToH needs that. He needs the repair.
Oh, not quite enough there.
Remember, the dock also fires arrows now, but it has minimum range. So if the units are right next to the dock, they can't end up going for the attack. But I mean, this completely changes hybrid, right? I was more excited for this than the new civs, just to see how is water going to work on a map like this. Because normally 2 docks beats 1, game over, right? But here, I guess it is 2 docks versus 2, but TaToH is able to use some damage control. And Lierey's just really forcing it, which so far might end up being the play, but let's see how many units he actually survives with.
Yeah, I think Liereyy was going for fire ships and then literally remembered, oh, wait, Hulks are a thing now.
Yeah, I think he did.
That really is what it feels like.
Yeah.
But that's fine. But keep in mind, guys, Hulks have very low pierce armor. Yes, they are the ship to go for in this situation because they counter fire ships, and galleys are awful in these close water situations. But they have 1 pierce armor, and docks have 3 base pierce, and they get 3 bonus damage against ships. So it's really a lot of damage that these docks dish out to the Hulks.
Man, there's been so much activity on the water here. I expected an earlier archer range from TaToH. He didn't do that. He's actually going for the blacksmith. But this is what TaToH likes to do sometimes. He likes to go a little bit off the meta. He's clearly trying to remain competitive on water here. But this is where I would like... I guess maybe this is why they nerf demos, because they don't want a demo here to just rock Liereyy. But it feels like with what we used to have with the balance, that demos in these situations would be the normal play. No demos in queue for either player.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like wondering if TaToH might want to try and flip the fishing ships over to the other dock so they start firing, and that's exactly what he did. Hulk's taking a lot of damage there. You have the infantry armor upgrade for TaToH, but he only has 2 swordsmen in the first place, and they're kind of weak, so that's not going to be too big of a deal. And now Lierey's going to have archers on the field, and you really need your own archery range to deal with enemy archers. It's really tough to play AoE these days and not go for an archery range whatsoever in Feudal Age.
TaToH is just being so stubborn, though, right? Like, he did such a good job. He still hasn't lost all of his fishing ships. He's still keeping them around. Liereyy will have to dedicate so much more time and focus onto the water than he was really hoping for. I think Lierey's still doing a really good job at that. But even with it being Liereyy, usually the archer player is going to have a really tough time taking down Roman armored infantry when he also has to micro with the Hulks. And there's the example of it. His first 2 archers get hit a little. Really nice play from both players here as we see the Hulk Fest continue.
Yeah, TaToH not patrolling in there for a moment. Forging is coming in. Still very... Actually, does it matter? No, it doesn't. Because remember, guys, Hulks got nerfed from the Thalassocracy Cup patch. So they now only have 4 base attack instead of 5. So that means that because Hulks deal melee damage, you're running into the 4 melee armor of the other Hulks. And because of the minimum 1 damage in AoE 2, you're going from 1 damage to 1 damage. So I don't think that should matter.
Wow, yeah, I mean, I think you're right on that, right? Just looking at the stats. If it goes to 4+1, it changes nothing.
Yeah.
So, but the Thalassocracy Cup was how they tested the balance. They obviously made the changes. But Lierey's investment there, I mean, TaToH's getting forging as well. But at least TaToH's investment is going to have an investment onto the Man-at-Arms. And I got to say, these docks have just been wrecking here. There's 8 kills on the docks. Great job from TaToH to use the new feature, new bonus.
Yeah, and I think it's a way that you can counteract the fact that you don't have as easy a comeback mechanism on the water with demos being weaker than they used to be.
Yeah.
So at the very least, you can garrison the fishing ships and utilize that as a, defensive play so that if you're a little bit behind in ship numbers, it's not like immediately over. So it's a little bit of a different way, more consistent, but less high ceiling, I'd say, than it used to be.
The thing is, though, there's still this continuous issue for TaToH, and it's that Lierey's just on archers and doing very well with the archer numbers. So Liereyy getting to crossbowman can still end this game. TaToH spent a lot of his food on that. Now it's Lierey's turn. Lierey's like, you showed me the way. I'll just garrison my fish now. And the arrow fire's not quick. It's very subtle, but subtle differences can obviously make a bit of a difference in close battles. But I'm just a little surprised that TaToH made as many men-at-arms as he did. He will hit the berries now, but so far he has not had any value from them. And of course, he finds the value after I say that, and he'll kill 2 villagers.
That is nice, but TaToH's army can be dealt with much more easily than Lierey's army can right now, as we have, 6 archers now in the base of TaToH. Those quick house walls are essential. But this is, what we were saying. There is no good answer to archers without your own, skirmisher play.
Yeah.
And just going in one by one with those skirmishers. They have padded archer armor, so at least they're a bit tankier, but still the numbers are not in his favor. TaToH's still trying to keep this game messy, though.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the worker efficiency. So often, if the KD is the eco KD is 7-2 for the Romans, they will be 1,000 resources collected ahead. But here, because Lierey's macro has been so smooth, Liereyy is 500 resources collected ahead. So that just tells you how good Liereyy is at controlling the game. And there he goes, on the way to Castle Age.
And he's actually getting his own men-at-arms upgrade, so Dravidians do have a pretty smooth transition into the longswordsman, but, I mean, honestly, is it going to even matter all that much? He's getting so much damage done here, and because he spent so little food, right? He didn't go for men-at-arms, he didn't go for skirmishers, he just went for ships and archers, and got the farms down quickly. The food eco was just never really touched. He had more fishing ships in the first place than TaToH, and so with all of the chaos that TaToH's created, it just hasn't fundamentally really done anything in terms of putting Liereyy behind economically.
Yeah, now if TaToH can use the market and get up soon, maybe there's still some advantages for him, but I agree. This is exactly why everyone predicted Liereyy to win the series. He's just so good. And honestly, there's a lot of potential long-term problems with his base setup. His main gold's forward, his berries he didn't take, but he's just stuck to that back wood line and the gold underneath the tower. He's obviously held on water. Can you tell me, Ornlu, is the cost... Do you remember the cost of the warships upgrade? Because I don't have that memorized yet.
I've 150 wood, 100 gold, I think. It's fairly cheap, but it now costs wood instead of food.
Oh, wow.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, that's really realistic then. I think Liereyy should be considering getting that, just to continually snowball the advantage he already has on water. The TaToH's counterattack will be a little too late. Liereyy got man-at-arms, and then he built a stable. Like, he wants to make elephants anyways. So I think he's a little indecisive on what his Castle Age army choice is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, the elephant will obviously kill any of these feudal age units, no problem. He immediately queues one up upon reaching Castle Age. More Hulks are here in the amazing Hulk-on-Hulk action that is going to be dominating AoE 2 indefinitely.
Yeah. Well, replace the fire ships, but also the demos don't do nearly as much, it seems. That demo from TaToH did not recover the fight very nicely for him at all. And there's the warships upgrade, and with that, I think TaToH has lost the water. He's got no chance of holding it, and TaToH actually taps out. Honestly, he sees the elephant. He still wasn't really on the way to Castle Age. And Liereyy just... I mean, there was a lot of action there. Can we just appreciate that it's 36 kills and 34 deaths? That was a crazy game to end basically before much happens in Castle Age, but Liereyy just so clean throughout all the chaos. His eco management is just so good.
not only is the eco management so good, but the fact is that Liereyy had the earlier fishing ship, so he had an eco lead over Romans before the fishing ship kills came in. And then you're just in this situation where you have to get so much damage done as the guy going for the more land-focused approach that's why I always am a little weary of these sorts of more land-focused plays, because the threshold of an acceptable amount of damage done is so much higher.
Yeah. But, I mean, I think part of it for TaToH comes to the value from the Man-at-Arms. He got armor on Man-at-Arms. He produced, how many of them here? 9, right? The difference in the game, maybe if he stays on 3, he has a competitive Castle Age time here. It's not like TaToH didn't have as much food. He had more food, but he spent a lot of the food on those units. It's just the margins are so slim when the players are this good, and these are 2 of the very best. That's ridiculous, man. I had so much I wanted to talk about with balance, and we barely ever had time because of the action.
It was stuff happening from the get-go.
Yeah. Stranded game 2. The Lierey's playing as the Italians, a very good water civ, and then TaToH is playing as the Huns. What do you think about the Huns on this map?
Well, on the one hand, you can get the Hunnic horse to go pick up all those water buffalo, which is amazing because you can delay farming a ton with it. On the other hand, you can't go for a dock right away.
Yeah.
And that means that your fishing ship that you start with is very sad, because it can only sail around and watch the more productive fishing ship of your opponent.
That's literally what he's doing as well. He's actually just sailing around with it. Yeah, so I've talked to some players since I saw this from Mr. Yo against Hera. And I think a lot of people have Huns being good on this map in their minds because there was a slightly different version of Stranded with a 9 villager start. And Huns were really good there. So, because when I've talked to people, some people have been like Hart showed up in my chat and said, Huns are sick here, right? But then I started to have more conversations and I was like, well, how are they on like the 3 villager start? Have you tested it? And they're like, well, it should be the same. I'm not fully convinced. I feel like with the way the drafts play out, you need to be absolutely certain your civ is dominant. I feel like there's better civs for it, but basically you have to take the wood, recover the wood to eventually get a dock, get over there, drop a dock, and you're hoping to not too far behind economically, and then that this horse changes the game with the scouting.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good sort of mid-run bonus, right? It's a disadvantage in the very early game because you're behind in resources. It's an advantage once you get to mid-feudal age because you can delay the farming. But when it comes to a very aggressive map like this one, I take the bonus that applies faster every single time.
Yeah, but let's keep a close eye on it, right? Mr. Yo, It didn't look too good, but maybe TaToH's got this build down pat here. Liereyy will bring in his first elephant. Lierey's got a lot of elephants around as well. He's got 2 more elephants very close by, plus a lot of water buffalo.
Yeah, he's still got plenty of food to get going. Italians have that cheaper age up, and he'll be able to go up quickly and make lots of hulks. Or go for men-at-arms, or any sort of variation thereof.
Did you happen to see the silver set of Bad Koala versus Snapwell?
I don't think I saw that one.
Okay. So Bad Koala, I know you know him, but I described him as a player who just kind of shows up and YOLOs. I don't think he's a player who necessarily is super practiced or prepped. He's been around forever. His style is very unique, right?
Yes,
he picked Huns on this map, and then, as you know, when the TC completes, your horse just kind of pops out, and it's right next to the TC. And he put 2 of his villagers inside of the TC and tried to rally them on top of his horse to eat it, like it was a llama or a sheep.
Oh, no!
Multiple times.
Oh, guys.
3 different times I saw the villagers hop in and out and appear next to the horse before he realized, oh shoot, I'm Huns, I can't eat that. I gotta scout with it.
Oh no.
And then he won the game.
Horses are friends.
It's crazy, man. I was losing my mind. I was like, how does that even happen? The reason the Huns can be solid here is because of the horse. But I gotta say, I mean, we talked about the downsides. The experience that I had previously, it looked really bad for Mr. Yo because he was 4 or 5 eco down. But TaToH's only 1 eco down, if that, and he will have all the water buffaloes on the map if he uses the horse properly.
Yeah, it's currently 4 to 6 in water buffalo numbers. That said, it's not an issue for Liereyy, right? Because this map is still designed and balanced around you not having the Hunnic horse.
Yeah.
So there's
yeah.
still tons of food here in the early game, and so long as Leary's able to make it to Feudal Age, it feels like he's going to be totally fine because he has extra fishing ships. It's 5 to 4-ish, and he'll be able to go for water control. And the chances of TaToH being competitive against Liereyy on the water in early Feudal Age seem pretty low.
Well, I'm curious on that because TaToH did scout with his horse, and he knows the dock position. And oftentimes players are pretty much on the opposite side of this circular map, but here the dock positions are very close together. So
no, he actually scouted it with the fishing ship T90, right?
oh, what was it? I don't know. Maybe it was. That
no, he actually stopped with the fishing ship. You're right, it is the horse, just based off the scouting pattern.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he scouted it with the
moment.
fishing ship and then he scouted it with the horse as well. I'm not sure, but TaToH will go second dock. TaToH will have that knowledge. Liereyy will not. So maybe Leary's thinking about some type of fast castle, but I think more often than not from the platinum players, we've seen super fast feudal times. It clicks for the Italian bonuses. It is much cheaper, and he gets a lumber camp up, and there he goes. Fast feudal age.
Yeah, it seems like when a map is introduced, there are obviously lots of different ways people will try and approach it because there is no hard and fixed meta. Over time, though, as the maps get more figured out, it feels like players will always gravitate towards these faster openings as that poor Hunnic horse is not going to be eaten, but is still going to die. But I don't know what you think, T90, that it feels like these maps will always eventually gravitate towards fast feudal.
I don't know. If anything, I think it's gone a little bit the other way for me. Like,
really?
Initially, we used to see fast feudals with 3 to 4 fish. And then people were like, okay, we can get away with adding more eco. And at least in, like, it depends on the caliber of player, of course. But I am amazed at the amount of fast castle we're seeing in the other leagues. But I guess here, yeah, it's like once people figure out how they can streamline a build, I guess fast feudal has been the only strategy. But TaToH lost his horse. He's going fast castle. But if there's ever a point where he doesn't have the food underneath the TCs, I'm going to be really concerned here because losing that horse is really painful. If he would have avoided that area, he knew that Liereyy must have been close because he had scouted the dock position. There's 2, 4, 6, 8 different buffalo. That's over 1,000 food that TaToH could still have waiting underneath the TC.
And that is quite significant because, as we keep saying, the chances of you keeping those fishing ships alive is fairly low. Liereyy now, in the feudal age, he is, of course, not queuing up any ships because that would make us look like we know what we're talking about. Instead, it's just going for an archery ring.
Yeah, I was going to say, as you're saying it, I'm about to jump in here and be like, actually, he isn't going for 2 docks.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to go archers. Well, I'm sure in Leary's mind, he was also thinking through what the Huns are going to try here. And he probably came to the conclusion that Huns would try fast castle cav archer. But saying that, I'm still not completely certain on TaToH's approach here. I actually kind of feel like he might add a stable just because he doesn't have a lot of gold right now.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be a market because you're not going to have anywhere near enough gold for Castle Age.
Well,
so it should be market.
He can't market because he didn't mill, right? So that you're kind of stuck there. I think TaToH's just a little late to the golds, basically. I think it's fine.
Well, he grabbed Loom.
Yeah.
But maybe he was like sensing that, okay, I lost my Hunnic horse. I don't know if my opponent is doing anything aggressive on the land, and I just would rather be later up to Castle Age than to be caught without Loom. And I think that's just a decision you can go for.
You know what I think TaToH's going to try here? Because this dock garrison completely changes the game, right? Liereyy has to move on to go find the other fish. These fish can go back to work, and then you could turn around and do the same thing with the next dock. I feel like TaToH's just adding the scout for map control, and he's going to just go full water in castle.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly a possibility. I mean, I just like having the scout in the first place just because knowing what your opponent is doing is very helpful.
Yeah.
And, of course, he takes a downhill spearman hit because feels bad, man. And yet, it's a lot of bills on gold. He still has a good 1,200-ish food under the TC, so he can go for some knights. So he can take back map control. That said, fast castle into knights so far in TTL have been not great in terms of results.
Yeah. Well,
So let's see.
to any confused viewers, new update. They introduced new civs, which were not going to be played in this series, but now you have the Hulks instead of the Fires as the choice for early feudal. You do still have Fires. Fires are good against Galleys. Galleys are supposed to be good against Hulks, but I think the nature of Galleys, the fact that you need those upgrades and it takes some time to mass them, still makes them a unit that's not super justifiable here. But when you garrison inside the docks, you save your fish. You no longer just completely lose water right away against early pressure. And it gives you time to recover on water, which you never really had before. So, still people are getting used to the Hulk. Some people love it, some people hate it, but interesting. And again, we have forging for TaToH. So does he think that because the Hulks are melee, that in a Hulk v Hulk engagement, forging actually helps?
I mean, to be fair, I haven't tested it. I don't know if you have.
No,
I just
no.
realized it right now.
Yeah.
There's been so many things to actually try and digest with this patch that it's going to take all of us as a community a little while to figure out what exactly is going to be optimal, but I don't think it should matter.
I mean, it doesn't from the eyeball test I just did, so maybe that's enough. That seems like the same amount of damage as Liereyy was doing, but once you get warships, maybe forging then does apply because the Hawks should get an increased base attack, I believe.
Well, they didn't previously, right? All the way
okay.
from Hulk up to Karak, they all had 5 attack, and it was you get increased attack speed.
Ah, interesting. All right, well, we'll find out. Liereyy hasn't clicked up to Castle Age yet. Siege Workshop is there. That villager can easily get sniped. Lierey's still harassing TaToH's fish. TaToH's still garrisoning. TaToH's essentially hoping that the upgraded Hulks will be superior. Did he cancel?
He didn't. Yeah, he canceled it.
He canceled the upgrade. Okay. Interesting. And his villager did get pushed off the Siege Workshop. So then he just got forging for the Knights, essentially. He probably felt like forging went both ways. It seems like that's what TaToH wanted in the previous game as well. But the Siege Workshop will complete, and the Mangonels up. Or Mangonels will be out soon, or Rams, and Lierey's still 2 minutes away from Castle Age here.
Yeah, and honestly, it's not that bad for TaToH. Like, yes, his eco is worse, for sure. But it could be a lot worse, and if we were on the old patch, he would have lost almost all his fishing ships.
It would be over.
Be in, like, all-in mode.
Yeah.
Now, he's just a little bit behind, and he just has to get some damage on. That said, the fishing ships are now starting to go down, and TaToH still is not actually set up to win water, although Liereyy is forced to invest a lot into it.
Yeah, well, this Mangonel is going to make things interesting, though, because Liereyy could lose his archer range pretty easily here. He could also lose all the villagers there. TaToH has 5 knights already. TaToH will also add monks behind this. And let's not forget, TaToH does not need to fish because he has a lot of those buffaloes. So we question the Huns start. We've now reached the mid-game. This is where the Huns can be extremely dangerous. Liereyy needs to be on point with his defense right now.
I mean, everyone's favorite horror movie, Five Nights at Lierey's. It's scary, man. These guys are taking down that archery range fast. He's going to lose a lot of his Castle Age timing potential. All the archers are actually going to get sniped as well. And the Mangonel here, too. It's going to be rough.
Yeah, so archers are just not something you can go for anymore now. Knights are a non-factor. The stone walls were huge. Without the stone walls, those knights are through. Your eco gets pressured immediately. Lovely choice from Liereyy because he has the fish eco and still got some food here to make knights. Knights can mean he can take down the siege. But TaToH has the monks, and TaToH is still remaining competitive on water. So normally, Liereyy could just think, okay, I have 1 water now. I don't need to think about it. That's not the case. It's still a big issue.
I mean, this is really interesting, right? Because right here, we are seeing the less obvious ways that you're not going to, like, really just immediately gravitate towards this. Like, when you read the patch notes, it's like, okay, you can garrison fishing ships and docks. But, like, this is how you can leverage that change into actually adjusting your early game builds on a tournament map like this.
Yes.
And it's shaking up the metagame a little bit. And I think this is a lot of fun to see.
Yeah, no, I agree. Listen, I came in here expecting to hate the Hawks, all right? And we are not paid for our opinions. Trust me, if we were, we would not be as negative at times. I'm with you, dude. It's really unique how it's changed the map. We've seen a lot of situations where right now, the guy in Lierey's position just simply has won the water and won the game. And now TaToH's still remaining competitive on water. He's got some Hulks in the back to potentially snipe Lierey's fish. And he's taken down the tower. And Liereyy is backed into a corner right now.
He is going for some knights of his own, and because he had the better food income, he can do that. He's getting fishing lines, which is, remember guys, they basically split gill nets into 2 upgrades, so fishing lines is now the precursor to gill nets. Lierey's going to have some cavalry of his own. They have bloodlines and +1/+1, so their upgrades are actually better than for TaToH's, but TaToH has these monks here, and that is going to be a huge difference maker.
The monks are the key. Like, the siege is valuable to some degree, but if TaToH doesn't get his conversions, he will then be converted by Liereyy, and Liereyy will snipe the siege, and Liereyy will win the fight. The monks are literally the most important thing right now. He's being patient, and I'm sure he's just going to wait. He is also still being harassed on fish by Liereyy, but again, with the garrisons, with the patrols, he's still remaining competitive, and now we have the fight.
Oh.
Will the conversions happen? It looks like TaToH gets his conversions, and Lierey's monks need to get the conversions as well. So, sorry, TaToH got 1 there. Liereyy got 0 so far?
I think Liereyy got 1. And then he got a second one right now. And since he has the better upgrades in the first place, he should be winning this fight. 2 villagers are going to go down there. Knights are kind of derping around under Lierey's TC too. And that is actually very good for Liereyy, who's now at 11 villager kills at this point.
Gotta say, though, TaToH does have 3 TCs. He's 3 town centers. The food eco's not amazing. This is where those freaking buffaloes in Dark Age, man, that extra 1,000 food would have changed the game so much. That horse dying underneath the TC is probably killing TaToH right now because he simply doesn't have the food economy to justify continuous night production.
Yeah, and that's when, in the last series, I was so like, running, what are you doing making knights? You don't have food income.
Yeah.
And TaToH himself is going to switch over into CA, which in this map, in this situation, your food income is awful at this point as both players. So going for the unit that doesn't cost that resource is going to be a huge boost.
What a great series so far. Guys, this has been so close. The previous game ended 36-34 KD with Liereyy winning. Right now, the KD is 25-25. Try and tell me that these two aren't playing at their absolute best right now. This is so clean.
It sure is. Knights are going to try and dip under the TC. The upgrades are pretty good for Liereyy, all things considered, and idling TaToH's eco is certainly not a bad thing. But T90, TaToH, the guy who has been behind in water control, is ahead in resources right now compared to Liereyy, and that 3 TC is going to really kick in pretty soon.
Yeah, I think Liereyy might need to consider a siege workshop of his own at some point on that hill. He's got a lot of space there to work with now, but TaToH, unfortunately, can't house wall, but he goes for the double gates, which are not, it's not nearly as strong. But he's chasing with the monks. Liereyy has another group of knights coming in. Again, conversions are so critical here. If TaToH didn't have the monks, Liereyy would be taking a bit more of an aggressive chance with his knights right now.
And the Cav Archers are also a good unit for sniping monks. They're fast, they're hard to kill super quickly by the knights. And yet those monks have not lost their conversion charge. And that is...
The knights underneath the town center. Liereyy just killed so many vills. That's what I was reacting to. That was a crazy raid from Liereyy. TaToH didn't notice. And the Cav Archers still do not have Bodkin arrows, so they are not very strong. Horrible moment for TaToH.
Oh, geez. I mean, that's what happens when you have so many different things going on, and there's so many different things to pay attention to. To be fair, the Knights are just literally like whacking themselves into the TC. But yeah, these are not the mistakes Liereyy makes. This is the difference between Liereyy and most players in the world, even someone as good as TaToH, is that he just will notice a bunch of knights in his eco like that. Yeah. And right now, everything is just falling apart for TaToH.
Yeah, TaToH, he really needs Bodkin. But like we said, he hasn't had the food. And with Cav Archers, he always needs that mask. Bodkin arrow is on the way. But I was getting a little worried for Liereyy there with the eco situation when it was 3 TCs versus 1. He's got a very healthy one-town center economy, has added in some farms, has a lot on gold, and is still adding fishing ships behind this. Still think there's another chance for TaToH. It just comes down to maybe a couple conversions, but mainly the Cav Archer mass.
Yeah, that's going to be absolutely critical. Now, thankfully for Huns, they are the best civ at actually doing this, so there is a chance. And Lierey's going to be starting with a ram here, which I think is kind of interesting because I feel like the Mangonel could put pressure on both the CA and the TCs, especially from the high ground.
Yeah, I guess he just feels like for now, there's nothing that TaToH can do against the ram. He's got a window here where TaToH just can't approach. But in the running Lewis set, the Knight player took big fights before getting +2 armor. I think that's an upgrade that Lierey's going to have to think about eventually. It just feels so pricey. Every time you're making a unit which is heavy food and gold, and then that upgrade is just, so pricey.
I mean, especially these days, because you're rushing up to Castle Age with fewer villagers than you used to. But back when we saw double stable knights be a very common meta play.
Yeah.
Now it's way more difficult to afford those sorts of upgrades. Ballistics is coming in for TaToH, which is huge. He lost the 3 relics, and they're even going to be taken by Liereyy, so that's going to be a big damper on his eco. And yet he's not dead yet.
Yep.
And he still has Cav Archers, which can absolutely just randomly win you the game.
TaToH,
not randomly, but feels like it.
TaToH going through the list of things he needs right now. Ballistics is one of them. That's good. The next thing he's going to need is Bloodlines. And then he's going to need good micro here. He's completely lost water now. So finally, it took a lot of time, but finally Liereyy adding the fishing eco and doesn't need to put any of his attention on water, which is crazy to think that this whole time he's had to worry about that and he's still microed as well as he has.
I mean, it's just crazy how good the multitasking of Liereyy is, and his eco has been more efficient than TaToH's throughout all of this as well, even when TaToH's been applying a ton of pressure. That said, TaToH is going for a big counterattack here, and the Knights, without that +2 defense, like you're saying, they could start to struggle here, although no husbandry versus husbandry is actually super bad for TaToH.
Yeah, TaToH, and he's losing his stable, too. The stable just got rammed down, so he has no stable, which means husbandry is no longer an option, and the speed difference is clear. The Cav Archers just cannot keep up, and TaToH taps out again. Liereyy is playing unreal.
Yeah, that is very, very painful for TaToH. This was his home map, but once again, just could not quite keep up with Liereyy. And the multitasking and the fact that everything that Liereyy was doing was very streamlined. And the fact that Liereyy went Knights, he still had the fish alive.
Yeah.
And that was absolutely critical. Because if you don't have the fish, then you just can't afford all the Knights and those upgrades, but Liereyy was able to do so.
Honestly, it was a great game from TaToH. I can't help but feel like him running out of food to pump villagers out and being late on upgrades was a big deal here. And I'm just going to restate it because it was a big thing from Dark Age. He had the horse. We've seen games where that horse just collects all of those additional buffaloes. An extra 1,000 food could have been underneath his TC. If he had that, maybe Bloodlines and Husbandry is in. Maybe Bodcanero's in. Maybe he has 2 more Knights in the fights. I mean, the tiny things add up. But again, it's like, here's just so tough to break, man. I thought TaToH did way more than was ever possible to be competitive on water here. And he got to Castle Age with a forward position. He took down Lierey's tower and Archer Mage. He was at the front of Lierey's base. It was like he had him near the grave, and then Liereyy turns it around. So good.
And I think the big thing is that Liereyy, although he had his resources idled, he had his units killed, he never fundamentally lost really many villagers that game.
Yeah.
He kept his fishing ships alive, he kept his villagers alive very well, and that just enabled it so that Liereyy eventually could start taking those better fights, and the macro was so good that if you're not actually killing villagers, Liereyy will get everyone back to work in an efficient way pretty quickly.
Yep. So he's got Vietnamese for TaToH, Portuguese for Liereyy. None of the new civs in this series. Both players have banned them, and both these civs, very solid and well-known.
Yep, these are just, if you want to pick 2 civs that are like top 5 or 6 in every single map and setting, pick these 2 civs. There really is no downside to either of them. You can play any sort of style you want. You can go for an aggressive approach, a bit more passive approach. And it's really just going to come down to how these guys want to approach the game.
Yep. And TaToH probably feels like he needs a bit of a lead, right? The laming is high risk, high reward. If you could steal some sheep, steal some boars, you'd love so, but you just don't know where those resources are going to be. He does know where the opponent's town center is, though, being Vietnamese, and so he's looking around. Will he circle a little early?
Oh, no.
Oh, nope, he should see them.
Oh, he saw it.
And he can steal
that
those.
Was very close. But yeah, he's going to abscond with a couple of sheep. Now, you do have extra food on this map on either side of the slope, so it's not like the end of the world. Going to find one boar there at the back, going to find another sheep. I don't think he should be able to steal there.
I think taking the boar is maybe too risky if you already have stolen 3 sheep. Like, if you steal the 3 sheep, you just say, alrighty, we're good here. Let's go home and let's play a standard Dark Age and find our own resources. That's, all things considered, worth it for TaToH. And I think, honestly, more people need to do this. It really bothers me when people play Vietnamese and they don't try that little run right now, because by the time you get back home, you still can do everything else you need to do in a standard Dark Age.
Now, what I am surprised by is Liereyy did not respect the lame at all. Like, he brought his scout in the exact opposite direction of the scout of TaToH. So if TaToH wanted to go for the boar steal, he would have had a completely free time doing so. So, like, as it happens, TaToH could have gone for it, but the idea behind why he didn't, I think, is totally fair.
Yeah. And Liereyy, you have a deer on either side here, slopes. We old versions used to be 3 deer on each side, and then people would just push in their deer, and they would never build a mill here, but we have the balance now. I like the pros and cons of decisions in the game, right? So he's got the recovery here with the deer, and he actually went for the early mill. I don't know if you mentioned that. But early mill, you get some wood income from taking the berries with Portuguese. So that will also help him recover the food a little, and he can still get the lumber camp timing.
Yeah, I actually, now that I think about it, remember at NAC 3, you were, like, it was right before you were going to implement slopes for the first time, and you were so excited. You wanted to tell us all about how amazing this map was, that it's going to be amazing in all his tournaments, and yeah, I just remember you being like, oh yeah, so you have like this middle valley area, then you have food on a high ground that you can choose to go for, but you don't have to. I just remember like, cool, man.
Are you saying that I was very excited and you were just like kind of just listening just to make me feel better?
No, I'm always interested in AoE. I just your veritable excitement was quite endearing.
Okay, well, I mean,
it's not an act, guys. He's just as hyped off screen.
I mean, I do take a lot of pride in it, to be honest with you. So I take a lot of pride in the maps, and it's just, it's a lot of fun. Now, the funny thing is, I have 0 map scripting skills. Luckily, we have people in the community that can help. So I don't know if I showed you the paint picture, but I would just draw on paint.
You did. Actually.
I did. Okay, perfect. Oh, I wish I still had them, dude. I don't have any of them, but I definitely have had like 6 or 7 drawings on paint. It looked so bad, but yeah, that's all I do, really.
Nah, that's fun. And yes, you also were showing off pants at the same time.
No, it was Bay, but whatever. That's fine.
I know it's Bay, but we can't say anything bad about Bay.
Nope,
that would just be inappropriate.
Absolutely. A TaToH 19 pop, Liereyy 18 pop, despite losing the sheep. The sheep, it's more about the early feudal age, though. Because without having the sheep and also having gone early to berries, you definitely have less food to work with, which typically means you have to skip horse color on a build this fast. It's way faster than I expected, to be honest.
I mean, people really like getting up to feudal age fast these days. And look at this, Liereyy, he really suspects he's going to be up to feudal age faster. He is just following TaToH scout. TaToH, I think, realizes it and is just going to try and get some extra damage done because TaToH is very far away from his town center, and he is slower to feudal age. So Liereyy going to get the early kill right there.
Wow, so TaToH doesn't even try and run. He doesn't even attempt to get to a hill there. I'm not sure I'm a fan of that. That was close enough where maybe if you get the downhill hit, you actually have a chance. And there's a lot of hills around, but honestly, I look at his scouting, and he didn't see the ones that I saw right next to him. He didn't see the one next to the relic or the one to the north. So maybe TaToH's just happy to trade off the HP, because if you trade off the HP from the first scout, you can then wall a little bit more, which TaToH's going to try and do.
And that is going to be exactly the case. That said, Liereyy Scout is still only on 9 HP, so this villager can feel safe going over to the sides and starting the wall.
Yep.
The scout is simply too low HP to actually kill her. Both players are opening scouts, so nothing too crazy there. TaToH, though, leveraging the Vietnamese bonus and getting that early horse collar upgrade, which is super nice.
Yeah, TaToH, I think, will want low risk here. He knows Liereyy will come aggressive. I think if the Vietnamese can survive the early pressure here, they should be the preferred civilization, just slightly. A lot depends on the transitions. Liereyy will use the food on the side, which of course makes me very happy. And it's all because he's got the map control and TaToH doesn't see it.
Oh, Scout's going to try and dart in and go after the villager, but are unsuccessful. Note, though, that when you opt for this early mill approach that we mentioned earlier as Liereyy, it means that you are going to go through your berries faster. So Lierey's going to be in an uncomfortable situation right now where his sheep are going to run out and his forage bushes are going to run out. And that's why those side resources are so critical, because he just doesn't have the resources to go for farms yet.
It's just insane how quick this is all developing. It's so fast, right? Like, TaToH will lose a villager just like that. And it's just, imagine being TaToH right now. You've lost the first 2 games. You probably feel like you played really well. A player will have a good gauge on if they're underperforming or not. So he probably feels like he's near his best. But Liereyy starts off game 3. High confidence from him. And behind it, the famous Liereyy archer switch with the archer range.
Going scouts plus archers here as Liereyy. And look at this, D90. He's already ahead by 300 resources.
Yeah.
This is like a superpower that only Liereyy and Hera have.
Yeah.
And I will never fully understand it, but it is honestly, I think, an underrated aspect of how they win so many of their games.
Yep. Well, I mean, I remember a quote. This is a couple years ago. Because you used to think like, you know, micro wins games or macro wins games, right? You pick one or the other. But I remember... I think it was Daniel, and Daniel's always a great player to quote because he's got some good sound bites, and he was just like, the micro wins their games because it sets up their macro, right? It's like if your unit control is so good, you force so many reactions, they have to spend a larger percentage of their time trying to deal with not dying, and then their eco becomes just an absolute mess. So yeah, it's just the perfect combination. I agree. Both players are kind of at the standard of that right now, and of course, I think the only player that can really stop Liereyy is probably Hera. So,
yeah. I mean, the safe money from when the tournament started was a Liereyy versus Hera finals. I mean, that was definitely sort of the go-to. Now, obviously, we still have a lot of tournament to play out so far, but I would say that, generally speaking, the results have been as expected thus far.
Yeah. Well, Hera's undefeated. He will play his 3rd round this week. And Liereyy right now undefeated in the 3rd round. 8-0 so far in TTL, and the archer follow-up is hit at the perfect time. TaToH was clearly unprepared for this. He had just stabilized into his own scouts. I do think, though, that if TaToH can tower there and check the sides right now, if he can use those scouts to actually go forward, Liereyy has taken some risks there, and he doesn't have protection there. So that would be a way for TaToH to come back. He's market walling. He'll stone wall. He's Vietnamese, so faster researching wheelbarrow. Good units. There's lots of positives to come. He just needs to find the villagers. And there they are. No spearmen in sight. Well,
it's coming, though.
It's coming, yeah.
Yeah. It's a coming. And that, I think, is just such a huge difference. Liereyy is already 800 resources ahead, guys, which percentage-wise is absolutely huge at this stage of the game. Spearman will go down before it can get that last poke in, so Liereyy will lose all of these villagers. This is exactly the sort of lucky break that TaToH needed.
And that's, well, this is the risk, right? When you're so used to your opponent reacting to you, and they can find a way to play defense against it once, the defense into counterattack can be critical. And now, TaToH's almost fully walled. The army from Liereyy can't do any major damage to deny resources. I think Liereyy might run past the TC, so he needs to be careful. But yeah, well played from TaToH.
Still has to defend here at home. TaToH actually has several villagers on stone at this point, so it could be looking to go for another tower. There's the market coming in. My concern, though, for TaToH is just Lierey's been able to get the farms down. It was a really tough opportunity when the sheep ran out and the forage bushes ran out, but Liereyy did such a good job getting the side food that the fact that he had to delay his farms wasn't a big deal. He still got those farms down, and I feel like those kills might have come a little too late.
TaToH is fully building a second market right now. Like, he already has the first market. Yeah. And you're absolutely right. You look at TaToH, he's just finished berries. He's adapt. That's obviously 175 wood he doesn't have to build farms. And even though Liereyy loses vills, Lierey's balance on that one town center, the farm timing and everything is still so nice for Castle Age, yeah. But if TaToH uses one of his markets, or I don't know, both, why not? Just to balance out the res a little bit. In theory, he should have more workers long term, but the eco is not looking very good.
It's all the eco efficiency. Lierey's going to click up to Castle Age, and TaToH isn't going to even have 100 food or gold. It's going to be a complete disaster.
81% throughout the game for Liereyy, 73% for TaToH. 7% worker efficiency. That's beyond the Roman bonus, which we feel is insanely strong, right? So
yeah,
that's just that's probably why he doesn't draft Romans, because Lierey's like, I can play with 5% less worker efficiency as a civ bonus and just beat you with my own skill.
Yeah, I mean, obviously crazy performance right now here from Liereyy. Spearman does get a couple of scout kills, but as it so often is the case when casting Liereyy and Hera, I get to say it just doesn't matter.
Yep.
You get these
Yep.
small wins here and there because you're so far behind in economy that nothing you really do is going to make enough of a difference to overcome the fact that you're behind so much.
You do need to have an advantage getting to Castle Age, right? When you go up fast, you do need to have an army. So half the army just got cleared. TaToH's resources are looking better. You think about TaToH's gold, that's protected with a tower. His wood is rangeable on the outside, and Liereyy might go that direction. But Liereyy does need to be careful. The scouts will also come to his base. So he does need protection there. If one wrong step, like you put me or you into this scenario, right? You lose a couple archers, you don't do enough in early Castle Age, and then you have worse economy. So this still has to be up to Lierey's standards of perfection. But TaToH's so late to castle. So late. Oh, man.
Yeah, it's rough. Also, it's very kind of you to put me in the same conversation as you, as if you're not like 400 elo higher than me. But you know what? I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Hey,
Not Chad, who's actually being nicer than he should have been right there.
You had me sweating on that one random Baltic game we played, because I was like, I know how it goes, right?
Yeah.
Because at first I'm like, it's Ornlu. And then I'm like, wait a second. Did he sneak? Wait a second. I've got an army here. And then I was like, I can't lose to Ornlu. He's never going to stop bringing it up. So no offense, of course. You're a really solid player.
No,
but...
I mean, I would earn it in that point. And I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yep, that's how it goes. Well, Siege Workshop from Liereyy on the area where TaToH has his gold. And TaToH finds the crossbowman there, loses the villager. Liereyy, Bowstall upgrade right away, has horse collar for all the farms, second town center, all the advantages you want from the early Castle Age. Expand the eco and pressure with military. Again, just so clean. Just so good.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. There's another tower coming in, but now you're from behind and doing the literal worst possible thing to win an AoE game, which is going skirmishers when you're behind in economy.
Well, going skirmishers when your opponent has siege as well. Like, he goes skirms, and then the siege arrives. It's the only thing that could maybe be worse than that is if your opponent had a lot of knights. But Liereyy, he's playing it like his home map. The game 1 was the neutral map. Game 2 was TaToH's home map. This is still Lierey's map in the play all 3. The tower will go up, and he'll say, yeah, not bothered about that, TaToH. I know you probably don't have enough back there. And 3 solid games from Liereyy. I mean, he played good the first 2 rounds, but he played great today. That was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, nothing against TaToH. I mean, Liereyy beats almost every player in the world just as handily there.
Yeah.
Like, I think TaToH still played pretty well. It's tough, man.
Actually, I misspoke, by the way. I said that Liereyy played good the first 2 games, and then he played great the final one. I actually meant the sets. He played great every single game today. I think TaToH,
I knew what you meant.
There's definitely got to be a point in there in game number 1 and game number 2 when you're being so competitive on water, when the KD's even. That you end the game, the KD's even, and Lierey's in Castle Age 3 minutes faster than you in game number 1. Game number 2, like, you're on 3 TCs. How many times did he have to work in and out of his docks and sneak hawks? Like, and it still didn't break Liereyy. Like, damn, dude, Liereyy, he's undefeated. He's 9-0 so far this season. So Liereyy is absolutely loving the whole $30 per win. He's raking in the cash with that, but he's got his eyes set on first place in the group, obviously. But we have never had someone go undefeated. Remember that.
Yeah, and Liereyy will probably sweep Repard unless something absolutely silly happens, which I would be there for. But yeah, unless Barles can get a win there, it's going to be tough for anyone to stop Liereyy in this group.
Yeah. Well, Repard is like Licks, 0-6. They're promoted players who Repard at least had the best run of his career to even get to Plat. Has not been good. So yeah, I would expect Liereyy does sweep him there. And then, yeah, Liereyy Barles, I think Leary's going to be the favorite, of course. But, yeah, maybe Barles is going to be the one to slow him down a little. But for Barles and Repard, you snag one win against Liereyy when everyone else is getting swept. Could be really nice as long as you string some other results together.
Yeah, and indeed, and Barles still has to go through MBL. and then he has Licks first. So
Yeah.
he still has two of the stronger players in the group left, so that's still going to be an important one. And MBL Barrels actually could be like determining who gets third and fourth, and obviously there's a huge difference there between being able to move on to the playoffs and just kind of sitting in platinum.
I feel like it's not that like surprising to people right now, but according to the odds, 90% chance for Liereyy to be first in the group. For TaToH, very little chance he gets first after that result. But that's the same with everybody right now. So I think the big combo there is with second and third place going playoffs, who is going to be left out between Barrels, TaToH, and MBL? And I think it would likely come down to the sets where those players play each other, in theory. If it's the same result against Liereyy, if they all get swept by Liereyy, if everybody 3-0s Licks and Rapard, then it's just how do they perform when they play the other two? And yeah, I mean, we'll see.
All right, this is what's going to happen, T90. Liereyy sweeps everybody, and then TaToH, Barrels, and MBL all sweep Licks and Repard. And then they go 2-1 in a circle against each other. And then we go down to every single possible tiebreaker.
I was going to say, well, did you see what ended up happening in the one group at the top with in Silver League?
Yes.
Silver League, we had 10, 10, and 10 at the top three. And so it was triple tiebreak. It was Cosmonaut getting first place in the group because he had more set wins, which is the first tiebreak. And then Husiel was over Gabby because they had the same amount of set wins. Second tiebreak was their head-to-head series. So maybe it's something like that, but it's for second through fourth place. Yeah, that's likely.
Yeah.